Class is in session. Welcome to the Hitting the Book Show, Monday, March 23rd. Ian Cameron and Connor Mack with you, ready to break things down. Now, in the past, on the Mondays recently, it's been a college basketball only show, but we're gonna give you a little potpourri, a little bit of everything here today on the show. We'll look back at the weekend that was in the NCAA tournament, opening weekend in the books. We're down to the Sweet 16. We'll talk about some of the things that went down on the weekend in that NCAA tournament. We'll look to some NBA games for tonight, bets that we like in the NBA with the big slate. And then we'll wrap up the show. It's not too soon to look ahead to baseball. Baseball begins Wednesday, where it's the standalone Wednesday night game to open the season, Giants and Yankees. Netflix exclusive game as well. You have to. It's something to point out about that game on Wednesday night, and then Thursday is the first full slate of the season in MLB. That's the official opening day, if you ask me. Thursday, when you get that full slate. So this week, what we'll be doing is obviously we got the show today. We'll give you a little recap of the weekend, NBA look to tonight, and some futures wagers that we like in MLB. Tomorrow we'll do the NIT tournament games for Tuesday and Wednesday, the quarterfinals. Plus NHL, NBA looks. And then Wednesday, which is members only show, of course, every Wednesday, we will go through the entire Sweet 16 games Thursday and Friday in the NCAA tournament. And we'll give you our first baseball card preview on the Wednesday show as well. We'll look at Thursday MLB opening day. Most of the games are day games anyway on Thursday. So we'll do that on the Wednesday members only show as well. No show, of course, Thursday. And then we'll be back Friday with another members only show. So that's the schedule for Hitting the Books this week. As far as the weekend it was a great Thursday, great Friday, and then it was just progressively worse from that point on. Saturday was breaky, slight loss, pretty close to break even on Saturday, maybe slight loss. And then yesterday was pretty bad, at least for me it was. It was not a great Sunday. We had some Virginia let me down. Fading Rick Barnes and maybe one time too many in the NCAA tournament, but credit to Tennessee. They got the job done against Virginia yesterday. We had the over in the Miami-Florida-Purdue game, which was good. It got there, but we had Miami too, so we ended up splitting with that. And then, Texas Tech, Alabama, thanks for showing up offensively. I had the over in that game. And I thought if you told me before the game, C-Mac, Alabama's going to put a 90 spot on the board, surely that game's going to go over the total. But Texas Tech, my God, what a horrific offensive performance from them yesterday.
They've had a few of those.
Yes.
They had one a couple games before where they scored just 65. I forget against who towards the end of their schedule. That was the big thing. And even against Akron, they shot it well, like 11 to 20 from three. And I thought Akron would shoot it better. That's why I went with them. First half, and they kind of did. Anyways, they didn't make free throws, and they still and let some big runs there. And of course, which was the issue too with that game, was they kind of beat them up inside, which we had talked about. Because I almost stayed off that game. We had went through it earlier in the week, and I thought, man, Akron can shoot it though. And they didn't have a great shooting. It just didn't drop. Even though they kind of hung around early.
Finally, big time without Toppin. That's where you felt it for them. Last night.
Yesterday, and it just showed up. Texas Tech didn't have. They needed to have a great day, which they could have against Alabama there. But I want to get into Miami. That was one of my losses yesterday. Whole weekend was actually really, really good for me for the most part. And Thursday was really, really big. But that was horrible. I got to give Purdue credit. The free throws down the stretch, 21 to 22, and 6 straight. That they made down there. I think it was Smith, all of them, or maybe it was Lawyer too. But anyways, make all the free throws in Miami, horrible possessions. 3 straight go down and kind of do nothing was it. Because I think that game was a lot closer than it was. I thought at 73-69 with 50 seconds left that they were going to cover there in that game.
You're right. No, I mean, Miami played them toe-to-toe pretty even. They led 40-38 at halftime, Miami. And you felt pretty good if you're the Hurricanes, at halftime. But, Purdue, I mean, when Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith, that backcourt played every bit the way they can, and they showed it yesterday. They were both excellent. Braden Smith's been on a big-time roll going back to the Big Ten tournament. He's played at such a high level for this team. of late. Duke took care of TCU over the weekend. Houston blew out Texas A&M as well. How about Texas? My main futures bet with value that cashed over the weekend was Texas. I took a shot at plus 1,400 for Texas to reach the Sweet 16, and it was simple. All I needed was them to beat NC State in the first four. They did. And we know sometimes these teams that win in the first four can get to the Sweet 16, get on a little bit of a run. Plus, I looked at their potential opponents. I said they can beat BYU. BYU's vulnerable. And then I knew they had a possible matchup if they get past BYU with Gonzaga. And I said Gonzaga's not as good to me as they've been in the past. Texas could win that game too. And sure enough, they did. So it was great to be able to hit that one. Longhorns plus 1,400 to reach the Sweet 16. They got it done against Gonzaga over the weekend. Heartbreaker for me with Vanderbilt, because I had Vanderbilt in that game, and I had Vanderbilt to reach the Sweet 16. But credit to Nebraska, 74-72. You know what? I underestimated with Nebraska. Those were essentially home games for them in Oklahoma City. My God, Husker Nation. Boy, did they come out in droves to support Nebraska in those two games. Arkansas survived High Point, the biggest Cinderella left standing in the tournament, ends up getting bounced by Arkansas on Saturday. We had the over in that game, never had to sweat it, which was great to see there. But yeah, Sunday, Iowa State, man, without Joshua Jefferson, one of their top scorers, one of their best defenders as well, and pummel Kentucky 82-63. When they get it locked in defensively, holy mackerel, are they really, really good, Iowa State. And everybody showed up, had a big game. Lipsey was terrific again for them yesterday in that victory. And Kentucky, just a pathetic way to go out. Pathetic. And, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I did take Iowa State. I kept it a lighter bet, and I'm pissed because the Jefferson injury concerned me a little bit for Iowa State.
Well, first 20 minutes, it was right there. It was it was the last 20 minutes, second half.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. But they turned it on, and Kentucky they turned it over endlessly. They weren't getting good looks, and Iowa State just suffocated Kentucky in the second half, turned that game around. What a thriller. Well, I shouldn't say a thriller. It was an ugly game, but it had a dramatic, thrilling finish. St. John's in Kansas, the Battle of the Legends, Rick Pitino and Bill Self. And how about Dylan Darling with the game-winning layup at the buzzer after St. John's blew a double-digit lead to rescue them? And how about what Rick Pitino said, C-Mac, after the game? It was hilarious and almost surprising to hear it. This guy had made a shot the whole game. Apparently, in the timeout before that, and before that sequence with 4 seconds left, he said, "Coach, give me the ball, I'll take it." And this is a guy that didn't have a single fucking bucket made the whole game. And he had the confidence to say to Pitino, "Hey, let's drop this play, put it in my hands, and I'll win this sucker for us." And he did just that. So how about some friggin' cojones there for Dylan Darling? A pretty cool story to hear that from Pitino in the postgame after that one ended. The big upset, of course, of the weekend, Florida Gators, #1 seed, defending national champions, go down at the hands of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Man, we were onto this right away. How many times have we said it? I know I've certainly said it. I think you agreed, C-Mac, that the Ben McCollum hire was a great hire. It was a terrific hire for Iowa. This is a guy that did a great job at Drake, consistently a great coach. He's had a great win. This record in tournaments going back to Division II is ridiculous. I think he's something like 51-18 or something. So he's just a tremendous tournament coach, Ben McCollum. And boy, oh boy, is he certainly showing that right now. Like they don't have a ton of talent, Iowa, but he gets the most out of it. And to take down Florida the way they did was very, very impressive. So shout out to the Iowa Hawkeyes for that. Arizona gets past Utah State. UConn takes over in the second half to beat UCLA. So lots of interesting results there over the weekend. And, of course, we talked about Alabama crushing Texas Tech. I do, before I get your thoughts on the rest of the weekend, C-Mac, I also want to give a special shout-out in the other tournament. Don't forget about NIT. Shout-out, and I think you had them too, to St. Joseph's, the Hawks.
Man, I thought they were dead.
Quit, did not give up. Relentless, kind of like VCU was in their win against North Carolina in the first round. Down double digits on the road at Cal. It wasn't looking good, but, man, they just started making shots. They turned up the pressure defensively, and the next thing you know, not only do they erase a double-digit deficit, they come all the way back and win in Berkeley last night, 76-75. So great win for St. Joseph's. I know we both had them plus the points. So a little shout out to them. Don't forget about the NIT either. C-Mac, anything you want to add?
Yeah, to the game. We'll go over the NIT games tomorrow, like you talked about. So check that out. Tomorrow's show, NIT, those 4 games. I know it came roaring back. The defense, the shots just start dropping. And then the weirdest thing was it was 76-75, I think, with 1:40 left. Nothing out, no points.
Nope.
To watch the end of that was just the possession and then nothing going down. It was just crazy. But, yeah, congrats to them. And that was a late play for me yesterday going through the NIT. I kind of liked Tulsa, but I didn't love it. I liked how the Rebels have been playing. I thought it might be difficult for them, but I thought St. Joe's, and I'm going, oh, shit, when that second half starts. But shout out to them. Yeah, Iowa. One thing with Florida we mentioned, by the way, this opens this bracket now because Houston. I think it's the Elite Eight for sure, Final Four, definitely, and who knows, maybe to the title game.
Did they benefit from some of these results this weekend or what, Houston?
They did, for sure. And, of course, they looked really good. And I thought it was the matchup was bad. As much as Texas A&M, it was definitely wasn't going to play them at all, against Houston in that game, and it showed. But Florida, we talked about, it got better middle of the season, but they couldn't hit the 3 all year. I had been kind of saying that early on. People were like,
you have backcourt deficiencies. It could always show up that one game in the tournament, and that kind of showed up yesterday. I mean,
showed a little bit, 32%. Iowa didn't agree, but Iowa got easy buckets and putbacks. I mean, they had a little over 50% from inside, so that got it done. A horrible possession too by Florida. I mean, you can't have that. What was that? Run down baseline. I mean, bad. To have your year, that's what you're going to go with. Down 1 here, 4.5. Yeah. I mean,
Todd Golden, that was not a coaching clinic by him down the stretch. Let's be honest, that was not. He actually got outfoxed, in my opinion, by Ben McCollum there in that game.
McCollum, scrappy team, and I think that game's going to be really good. Just was a good game.
I know the old
Nebraska
Big Ten football rivalry. It's coming to the hard court now. Iowa, Nebraska in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, they played that overtime game, that last game. It still stayed way under, I remember. There wasn't much, definitely no points in the second half of that game. I think it'll be a struggle. It's kind of that game, Utah State. I find their team total under. I thought even the under in that game was good. They came through that. I stayed off UCLA in the end, and they kind of got burned out there in the second half. It was like 48-44, and UConn took over. In that one, the rest, Tennessee gets it done. I didn't play that game. I thought it was good. The best game for me was the St. John's, Kansas, because I had Kansas plus 3.5 in the under. So that shot, I loved it. No OT. That was like, when that happens, I'm like, beautiful. Cover, under, get out of here. Take my money and bounce. So, and you talk about Iowa State. We'll see. Jefferson will be huge to have him back because they already are a loaded team. Could be dangerous. And, yeah, we already mentioned the Miami-Purdue game and everything that went on in that one. Duke, I had the under there. That game was great. Michigan State, talked about laying it. They got the job done there.
Yep.
You and I both didn't have a lot of favorites.
Yeah, I had the over with St. Louis, Michigan on Saturday. That was pretty easy. I'm frustrated with TCU, man, because they didn't get a good whistle in that game. And it's not sour grapes, but they didn't get many calls. The missed goaltending was atrocious in that game, and it really did kind of swing it toward Duke. But at the same time, you get blown out and you don't make any shots. It was a turning point, but at the same time, I can't chalk it up. The refs didn't screw TCU, but it was a bad miss at a critical time in the game, and you could see you got momentum from it. But at the same time, you can't say if you're a TCU fan or a backer like I was against Duke that the refs screwed it and took it away from them. No, you just went ice cold, shooting.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They definitely did. I'm glad that just stayed under. Another one that just stayed under for me was that Vandy, Nebraska. Great game. Of course, shot at the end. Just unbelievable game.
Total. Yeah.
Oof. Oh, I know. I was happy in that game. And High Point hangs with Arkansas. As much as Arkansas, that's going to be their thing. Now they're a dog against Arizona. We'll get to that game, I think, right around 8 points.
Yeah.
Their offense has got to do it because they're not stopping Arizona, and the total's really high there. And then really the only that loss was VCU, Illinois, the over in that game. VCU just really didn't make any shots. They only had 28 points in the first half.
Yeah, one of their guys
kind of hung around.
Still,
yeah,
I mean, that's no excuse.
Still,
you gotta have other guys step up, next man up, and
the
rough day.
Just didn't get it done. And of course, the really only dog for me on Saturday was Texas, so that was big. And congrats on the 14-1.
Yeah, I had Texas plus the points against Gonzaga, and that future cashing was beautiful. 14-1 for them to reach the Sweet 16. We're not going to say anything, or at least I'm not either, about the Sweet 16. We're saving that till Wednesday. We'll do a every game on the board preview of the Sweet 16, the 4 games on Thursday and the 4 games on Friday on the Wednesday members only show. So make sure you become a member to join us for that on Wednesday. Let's turn to NBA. This NBA is where it's at tonight. Pretty much the only thing going on. There's one NHL game, but that's it. NBA is pretty much where it's at here for tonight. I'll just run down what I'm on. I'm on Chicago against Houston. I just don't trust Houston laying a number like that on the road. I really don't. 11-16 against the spread is a road favorite this year, the Rockets. And the Bulls have been at home since Thursday. So they've had 3 days off, no travel. Bulls actually gave Cleveland a pretty tough game last time they played. Only lost by 5. So I think that's too many points there for Houston in that one. A couple overs. I'm on Toronto, Utah over. 69% of Jazz home games go over the total. Golden State, Dallas, I think, is a good over. Neither of those teams playing defense. I think it's a good spot for Dallas, too. Small home underdog. Golden State, a long road trip, 6 road games in a row for them. Not playing well, still banged up, although Porzingis is going to play tonight. So I think Dallas in the over in that game. I took Orlando team total over 122.5. I think this is a get-right spot for the Magic. They've lost 4 in a row, but they face some pretty tough teams. Indiana doesn't guard anybody. So I think Orlando can go over their team total tonight. Lean Pistons a little bit against the Lakers, but those are the main looks for me in the NBA. C-Mac, what do you like in here tonight in the association? I did see on Twitter you kind of like a certain Utah Jazz team, but specifically in the first half.
Yeah. Well, I got to take them in the first half. I know there's a lot of players out for them. Raptors here on a back-to-back. They've just been a team, which is weird with their altitude. You think that when you don't have the talent, their second halves have been horrible. One thing in the first half have been really good. Sometimes it's a quarter. They're kind of slow first quarter. They've been good in a lot of second quarters, or even their first quarter is good, and they kind of give it up. But I'll take the 6 with them. I know it's an ugly dog. I'm sure not everyone's racing and loving that, but at least early, I think they can hang on in that game. I'm on them there. Ugly one. Give me the Jazz early. Come on, fucking cover it. Let's get it. Mavs. You talked about this is one of the dogs I like. I looked at San Antonio, Miami. This is down to 3.5. Totals moved up. I get it. Of course, with the Heat, I'm going to stay off. And it's a little bit of this is this high. It still could get there. But now at almost 2-4, I think this game could go under. If you like the Heat, though, you got to think this game goes over. They have to score points. So that means you'd like the over. And if San Antonio dominates with its defense, of course, they could keep it at least somewhat, I think, down a little bit. Then maybe that total stays down. But one more for me late here. The numbers are insane going through these. They're often over. And this is a tricky spot because the Raptors, the Blazers are home after a long road trip. But still, I don't know how Brooklyn scores. And the teams just played about a week ago. I looked at their team total. Going through their first half team totals were even crazier, especially after an over. They consistently just don't score over 50 points, regularly. I've been on a lot of their unders and team total unders. But the Nets, first half, 51.5, I'll dare this team to get there, which it just hasn't much at all, and especially after an over that they just had with the Kings. I don't think they can get it here. And to go through everything and how bad they've been in the first half, too, kind of all year long. They've had a few spurts. December, they had a couple. It was only really back-to-back over. It was like T-Wolves and something else. I forget the game there. Maybe the Sixers. But we know how this team is offensively. Not very good. And, they score 52 here tonight and are on because they're a team that just has one bad quarter a lot of the time. And I've noticed sometimes in the road games, they're getting blown out a lot. that they'll go over late, that they'll have a little bit more points, third quarter, even the fourth. But first half, team total under 51.5 for the Mets. It's going to cash. Get it. Even in the sleepy spot, I think, for the Blazers there.
Yeah, I actually took, it's one of my smaller bets of the night, but I did take 16 with Brooklyn. I just had to. I mean, Portland laying that.
Yeah.
Last time they laid that many at home, they only won by 10 against Utah, and Utah and Brooklyn are pretty comparable. So
it's a huge number. Yeah, you're almost getting 10 too, even in the first half, which they could maybe hang. Yeah,
no question. All right, let's get that MLB logo. But I haven't seen that logo for a long time. There it is. MLB logo in the background. It's almost here again. Unbelievably, it's almost here again. Major League Baseball season starts on Wednesday with the standalone game, Yankees and Giants on Netflix Wednesday night, and then a full slate for the official opening day, I think you can call it, on Thursday. And again, we will have an MLB opening day betting preview of the opening day Thursday card on the Wednesday show as well for members only. So Wednesday, again, is going to be one of those shows, a little
Big
longer.
day.
It'll be an hour or so, but we'll give you all the Sweet 16 games, and we'll give you the MLB opening day on Thursday, on the Wednesday members only Hitting the Books show. So make sure you join us for that. But yeah, CMAC suggested this, and I said, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Let's talk a little futures here today. Just a couple things that we're kind of liking here. I'll start with win totals first. Win total for MLB. I'll give you one I like and one over and one under. The over I like is, I guess I'm going to piss some Blue Jay fans off about the over because it's a team in their division, but I think Boston. I like what I'm seeing from the Red Sox here. Over 87.5 wins. I think they're going to be an improved team. When you can roll out the kind of pitching staff that Alex Cora is going to have at his disposal this year, their win total is 87.5 right now. I think they can be an 88-plus win team coming into this season. I mean, you look at what they've got, starting with they're going to be able to pitch. We haven't always been able to say that about the Red Sox, but Garrett Crochet, Sonny Gray, Brian Bayo. Now, Brian Bayo drives you nuts sometimes. I get it. Up and down he can be, but we know the stuff is there. We know the arsenal is there. Can he just be consistent with it is going to be the question. So you got Crochet, you've got Sonny Gray, you got Brian Bayo, and then, of course, you brought in the lefty from the Philadelphia Phillies, Ranger Suarez. I think was a great addition for the Boston Red Sox in the offseason. So I like the setup with the rotation for Boston. You look at the bullpen. I mean, how many bullpen relievers had a better World Baseball Classic performance than Garrett Whitlock? I mean, he was absolutely outstanding. And, of course, he's going to probably anchor this Boston bullpen this season, no question. You look at their lineup, obviously. There's the lineup to me was a little bit more sketchy last year than we've become accustomed to, but you still got to deal with Jarren Duran, Wilyer Abreu, Cedar Rafaela, a full season of Roman Anthony, you hope, is going to be significant here for the Red Sox. So I think the lineup's going to be good enough to score some runs, and more than anything, their pitching, I think, is definitely better, top to bottom, rotation and bullpen, than it was last year. So Red Sox over 87.5 for me. And an under that I like, CMAC, and then I'll get a couple opinions from you after that for win totals. I think this Philadelphia Phillies team, I don't like what I'm seeing. This is a Philadelphia team that the last couple of years, they've been close. They've been knocking on the door, but you got a bunch of aging pieces. Schwarber's not getting any younger. Bryce Harper's not getting any younger. Real Muto, the catcher's not getting any younger. I think this is a Phillies team that could take a step back. Now, I don't know if they're going to miss the playoffs. I don't know if it's going to be that big of a step back, but I took a shot under 89.5 wins with Philadelphia. I've got some concerns here for Robbie Thompson and his team coming into this season. That lineup didn't hit in big moments either in the playoffs last year. That's something that's a little bit concerning to me. We talked about Suarez going to Boston. Philadelphia loses him. Are you still going to be able to get Christopher Sanchez being able to duplicate his great season? Luzardo, I'm seeing Luzardo could be your number 2 starter this year in your rotation because Wheeler obviously is not going to start the season for this Phillies team. That's concerning. I mean, I don't think Luzardo is more of a 4-5 guy to me on a really good team. I'm not sure he's someone that I trust as a number 2 starter in a rotation. Nola, N-O-L-A, Nola. Of course, you got Aaron Nola, third. Taijuan Walker, I don't trust him one bit. In fact, I usually
Nola.
Yeah, Taiwan Walker. So that rotation is, I think it's got some holes in it. It's got some question marks. Same thing with this bullpen. Brad Keller, Jose Alvarado, Kerkering, although he's on the IL to start the year. There's some question marks there. You do have Yohan Duran, the closer that they got at the deadline from the Twins last year, but Duran was not flawless. He had a couple of instances where even he was shaky. So, and again, just an aging roster overall, top to bottom. So I think the Phillies do take a step back. I took them under 89.5. So there you go. 1 over, 1 under. I've got other opinions. Padres under in the NL West. I mean, I've got concern. Padres lost a lot. Did they fill all these holes and players they lost in the offseason, San Diego?
That's a question there for me there in that one.
Yeah.
I think it could go either way.
Yeah, I'm a little more pessimistic, CMAC, than maybe some people. Plus, the division's tough. Like, I think Arizona's
I'll get into that.
Very good. Dodgers are the Dodgers. I think the Giants are going to be pretty solid. I even think the Rockies. Here's one. I'll throw it another over just because I brought up.
I think they get over their win total.
I took them over.
I agree.
51.5 or whatever it was. I think it was 51.5.
You're going to do that again? Be that historically bad? I mean, they're going to be bad again, but they're telling me they can't win 55 games.
2.5.
I mean,
on it.
Yeah, it's super low. 51.5. Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
The bullpen's good, Spoons. That's true. I mean, obviously they got Mason Miller. It goes without saying. But like I said, I got worries with the Padres in a lot of other areas. So I just thought at this point, the Rockies, though, 52.5. I mean, I just thought it was just crazy low. I mean, I don't think they're going to be, obviously, they're still going to be bad. They're still not going to have a very good season. But, I think I still like some of their bats. The pitching is obviously a disaster. I'm not going to talk anyone. Even I can't. There's people that are, salesmen, and they try to sell you down the river with some nonsense. I'm not going to trick anyone into thinking this is a good rotation with Freeland and Lorenzen and Jose Quintana and Sugano. Sugano at Coors Field, I got to admit, that's terrible to me. That's frightening to think of that. Tomoyoki Sugano for Colorado pitching at Coors. But at the same point in time, there's some bats here I like. Mickey Moniak, Doyle, Ezekiel Tovar I like quite a bit. He was in the World Baseball Classic. I think they're going to be able to hit, and like I said, I just think that's one of the lowest win totals I've ever seen in my life. And I've been betting and handicapping for 20 years now. Dollander, there's another one there. Steven Jackson, I think there's some hope with him. So it's just I think it's dropped too low, the win total for Colorado. It's not a ringing endorsement of the Rockies. It's just, I think 52.5 is dirt cheap. It's almost like in this damn sport, you can win 50 by accident. Maybe the Rockies are that bad and they won't win that many games, but I think at 52.5, I took a shot there over. CMAC, anything with the MLB season win totals that you're liking?
Well, let's just talk to NL West. Rip that. I agree with the Rockies. I just think back-to-back years, you're going to be that historically bad again, that it's set that low. And they are bad, but, man, I think they're going to be awful. They can win 58 games. Who knows? Maybe 60. The rest of this division, the Padres, I think it's a question. I think it can go either way. I mean, I think they could go over. I think it could go under, because that's the D-backs and Giants, I think could both get over there. 79.5, for the D-backs. Could get there, and the Giants right around there, same at 80.5. And one thing with the Dodgers, they could have this story. I mean, they're loaded. If I would take their win total, it would be under 103.5. And, there's a little juice to it.
Oh, yeah, lean under Dodgers. I can't.
I mean, of course they could win 110 games. Something crazy have that year.
We saw it last year, disinterested at times in the regular season. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'd be there with in the NL West. So the rest of these, someone put in there, this was fascinating to me. I mean, they have Ozuna, some older bats, is the Pirates. And they have some of the young pitching. They got all right bullpen. But I don't buy it. I mean, maybe they can. This team hasn't won over 80 games in over 10 years. I just don't see it. In the end, I think they're going to fall short of 79.5. So
that's the thing. Right? I like Pittsburgh. I think they're going to be a better team. I think they're going to actually have a chance maybe to be a fringe contender for a playoff.
Oh, a lot of people do. This is the
number. It's the number. 78.5. It seems like odds makers feel the same way. So I don't know if the value is great to be betting an over with Pittsburgh.
This is the over. I just pencil in. They're not going to be great, but I think they win 85 games. We talked about last year. The only really big one I was on with the Brewers, and we'll get to that division win there. But Guardians, give me over 79.5. This team's just going to win.
That's such a bad division. How does Detroit not?
They're horrible. The division's horrible. They're not great. How do they not win 85 games again?
My team in that division's what Joey's talking about, the White Sox. I think
they're better. Look, yes, the White Sox will be better for sure in that division. But even the Guardians with the lineup that I don't love, they just get enough done. They will at least win 80 games. So over 79 there. That was about it. It's a couple unders that I was looking at. I think both these teams, Angels, no way I could take over 70.5. I mean, this is talking about a bad team. I think they falter. There'll be more injuries. They don't have the pitching. And the Twins, I don't think they could win 75 games in Minnesota. I think that's an under there. 70, right around 74.5, I believe. There. And the two divisions, the Brewers, last year, I still think it's low for their win total again. I think they could get it. To win the division plus 250, I think so. And you know what? The AL East, it's not easy to do it after, the horrible loss. The Jays, plus 280. The sneaky one could be the Red Sox like you talked about. Of course, the Yankees a favorite here. Red Sox are right around, I don't know what, plus 330, wherever you look around that number. But I think the Jays still here can win the division. It might not be easy, but at that price, I think they get there.
What I would say to everybody about the AL East, because I think I can't, the life of me, understand how anyone could possibly take the New York Yankees to win the AL East.
At the price? I know. Yeah, I know.
I don't get that. That to me is not value at all. And I think there's still a lot of questions. And there's still a lot of concerns with the New York Yankees. And they were fucking dummied by the Toronto Blue Jays last year. And yet they're this big of a favorite against Toronto. And I think, like I said, I think Boston's better this year. Toronto's not going away. They're going to be good. By the way, see how many Blue Jays were hitting the ball well in spring? Vladdy, Varsho, Barger. All these guys are mashing in the spring. Now, again, it's the spring. You have to take it with.
They're going to be very good. Yeah. They have pitching, though. I think they win the division.
Like the now retired Buck Martinez said when he got all Yankee fans all pissed off last year about his comments about them. They don't run the bases well. They have defensive issues. The bullpen's a hit or miss with the New York Yankees. I don't know if they've corrected any of that shit. Not from what I've seen. So that's absurd to be endorsing them, to win that division at the price they're at. You either have to bet Toronto, Tampa, Baltimore's probably going to be a little bit better this year. Boston, anybody but the Yankees. ABY, anybody but the Yankees to win the AL East. I think there's value with everybody except them in that division.
Yeah, we'll see what
could win the division, but you're that price is to me no, not at
that price. I think it's crazy. I might just have a couple of these, like the Guardians. I think is going to be I haven't put these in, and last year. I get it, Dram Yankee. I'm not a big futures guy. Like I had the Brewers. That was it last year. I think I might have a couple here this year, maybe. So, but I've gone through these we've done a few shows. We've talked to MLB, and then now I've gone through all this. So I might have a couple. But yeah, I don't love tying my money up either. I know you don't mind it, Vanna. Not me. Too much.
Baseball, though, I'm a little bit lower volume with the futures than I am. NFL, I go nuts. Like NFL, I got tons.
Yeah, NFL, you go crazy.
But MLB, I'm a little bit more conservative with that as far as it's concerned. Yeah, as far as leaders are concerned, let me just take a look. You're right. Some of those player prop futures. I
haven't got into it. I got to look a little deeper with jacks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
have you?
Yeah, there's a couple that I'm interested in here as far as home run bets. I mean, I you know what I like though? The two Japanese players that were signed, Okamoto for the Blue Jays and Munetaka Murakami for the White Sox. I think both of them could be over home run.
Sox, yeah.
Yeah, I think both of them have some pretty good power. I know the White Sox are excited about their guy. I know Okamoto for the Blue Jays as well. So the two big Japanese signings in the offseason, are of interest in my mind as well. This to me feels like it could be a big Vlad Jr. year. So whatever his number is, you may want to. This could be that year where he finally has that like monster year, start to finish. Like I think
he's always had these lulls, a little bit, kind of with his swing, power wise, and then when he hits them, they're in bunches. He has a month where he hits, 16 or you know what I mean. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no question. Brent Rooker for the A's over home runs. I like that.
Oh, yeah, come on.
28 and a half. I think that's
Kurtz.
I think he can get over that. Rooker for the A's.
Yeah, that ballpark.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, we'll go. Well, you know what? We might bring up some more because I'm still working on it. Like
me too. Some of these
Thursday. What I will say is futures to win the leagues and the World Series.
Yeah, you got any of that?
For sure that I've locked in already in the American League. They got to the ALCS last year, lost in a heartbreaker to Toronto in the Game 7. Springer home run, of course, putting them over the top in that series. I think the Mariners have it in them to get back there. I really do. Seattle. Yeah, I do. Now, Dan Wilson, we'll see. His manager's adjustments, if you will, and decisions at times, a little shaky. A little spotty at times, especially during that playoff run. But, I think on paper, in the American League, Seattle's as good as anybody. And they're certainly going to have that fire in their belly. They were one win shy of at least getting to the World Series last year. And they've still got a pretty strong bullpen, pretty strong rotation when you look at it, so they can pitch. That's a good sign. Now what the hitting, we see if Big Dumper, is going to be able to even come close to what he did last year. Won't be easy. Cal Raleigh, but you have obviously Julio. You've got Josh Naylor. You've got obviously some pretty decent bats there still in that lineup for the Mariners. You've got Gilbert, Kirby, Brian Wu, Luis Castillo is getting a little long in the tooth, but he's still serviceable in my mind, and the bullpen's still pretty solid overall for this Mariners team. So, yeah, I think just when you compare their roster top to bottom and the way they can pitch to other teams, they can absolutely get back, in my opinion, to a World Series. So Mariners to win the AL, Mariners to win the World Series. The one in the National League that I would say I'm probably the most bullish on right now, if I had to pick, because really there's some decent options here when you're looking at the futures market there with these particular teams.
Brewer. Dodgers. I'm just fucking.
That's the problem, right? That's the problem. That continues to be the problem, C-Mac, in the National League. There's teams you like to maybe upset the Dodgers, but are we just going to be back to the same old? And here's the Dodgers in the World Series again? Obviously, they're loaded. They're absolutely, now they got Kyle Tucker and freaking Edwin Diaz, as if they didn't have enough. And now you got one of the best closers and, probably the most sought after free agent hitter ended up going there too. So that's why for the National League, it's harder to make a case for anyone other than the Dodgers. It just is. But if I were to make a case for someone other than the Dodgers, Brewers are up there. I like the scrappiness, the feistiness of that Brewers team. So the 30-1, that's 30-1 to win the World Series. But you'll still get a pretty good price in the NL, which is 1,500.
I always do that. Yeah. Like the Rays, when they got there against the Dodgers, like I've had a few of those on like a team with at least bigger than 10-1. And I haven't done a lot of them, but that's where I go. Like, screw that. It's difficult to get there and then win it all. If you could get a good price and just to get there to win the pennant, I think it's definitely the play. Shout out to Old D with the membership, gifted membership. My guy, Spoons, appreciate it. Justin, shout out to all the members. Nick, Stamen, Manager of the Year. All right.
You want a bold take? Here's a bold take.
Yeah, hit it.
I don't love this team in the American League this year. Actually, they missed the playoffs last year too, so I shouldn't say it's that bold of a take, but I think they miss again. Houston Astros.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think about the Royals? Spoons just put in, I know that, they're moving in their what do you think? Their win total is a little high. A lot of high hopes for this team. What's their win total? 82.5, I think.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where it's like, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
I know.
Kansas City. There is a lot to like, obviously.
Yeah.
And it starts with Bobby Witt Jr., of course. This guy can do everything. He can hit. He can steal bases. He fields his position as good as it gets. He does everything for you for this Kansas City team. They've still got a pretty good lineup when you look at it, too, with the other guys in it. You've got Pasquantino. Sal Perez can still hit the ball at this stage of his career. You've got some, the pitching with Reagans. Here's the thing, though, is I need to see a little more from Reagans and Waka especially. I know Waka bounced back year last year. Can he do that again? Seth Lugo still, we're relying on him maybe as our third starter in the rotation. That's the thing, right? He kind of wore down a little bit in the second half, Seth Lugo. So, yeah, there's still some questions a little bit with the back part of that rotation for Kansas City. Detroit probably is still the best team in that division for sure on paper. And then it's a battle for but it's such a weak division that it's basically you could throw the Royals, the Guardians, even the Twins and the even the White Sox. I think, like I said, they're going to be someone that's going to be able to make some inroads this year in such a weak top to bottom AL Central. So, but Detroit still to me should win that division. They really should. I mean, they're still a decent amount ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, we'll go through a few of these. I've already looked at them, but yeah, if we find anything else, we could kind of rip through it, and even on tomorrow's show, because we're just going to go over NIT.
I think so.
We'll go over a little bit more baseball.
NBA and NHL was what we were going to do tomorrow, so we'll quick in a little more MLB futures talk tomorrow.
Show. I've been running through some of the stuff. More than just like win totals.
We'll get into Cy Young and home run leaders and stolen base leaders, because I saw someone say Chandler Simpson I don't argue with that one bit. That guy had 56 stolen bases in like 100 and some games last year, and I think he stole like 40 or 50 bases. That's insane. So, I mean, it's only like I think plus 450, plus 500 for Simpson to be the stolen base leader, but I mean, it's hard to deny it. When you see just how many stolen bases he had last year in such a short sample size, that's insanity. How many bases that had last year. So we'll get into more tomorrow for sure as far as MLB.
Sounds good.
Because we'll be back here at the same time. All right, best bets, C-Mac. Obviously, it's got to be NBA if we're going to give out a best bet tonight, because that's pretty much where it's at for this Monday night as far as action is concerned. So, C-Mac, what do you got? NBA best bet.
Well, I only got a few bets, but I already put the one out. Jazz, first half +6. Get it done. Come on, Utah. Don't let me down. Come on. +6, first half, Jazz. Let's get it.
So I gave you, if you watch the NBA OG Crew betting show, I gave you Chicago as my best bet there against Houston. I'm going to go with Dallas on this show. I'll give you a different one, something different. Dallas +2.5 against Golden State. I like the over too, so both of them. I think a good chance we can go 2-0. Mavericks in the over against the Warriors. I think we're going to. I like the spot for Dallas. Both teams are 2-8 in their last 10 games. But Dallas is going to see this as a winnable game. They've played some tough teams. They're at home. Golden State's finishing a 6-game road trip. They go home after this. They're banged up. A lot of injuries for Golden State. I think it's a winnable game for Dallas, and I think they will win it. So give me Dallas +2.5 against Golden State.
I like it. They Warriors are limping, pretty tough right now. Shout out to Spoons. Appreciate it, my guy with the dono. Hell yeah. Hey,
appreciate it, Morgan.
Dono works, brother. Appreciate you, my man.
Good luck to you.
Keep rolling in the tournament.
And tournament. I know MLB is like your bread and butter. You see it in the display picture from Morgan Spooner with the baseball. So there you go. So baseball is at his heart and soul of his sports betting profile. So there you go. We have a great season, Spoons, with MLB. Great stuff. We hope you all have a great season in MLB. Everyone in the chat. Shout out to all of you. Hit the like button on the way out. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk NIT quarterfinals. We'll talk a little NBA and NHL. There's big slates for both on Tuesday, and more MLB futures on the show tomorrow as well. We're out of here. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow on Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, for another edition of the Hitting the Book Show. Until then, class dismissed.